And now, on track in the week. On Monday, a total of 88 witnesses had given testimonies in support of the petition filed by the People's Democratic Party (PDP) governorship candidate Ladi Adebutu against the Governor Dakwa Abiodun before the Ogun State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Abeokuta. Adebutu's lawyer, Chris Uche Esehen, when the hearing resumed on Monday, called 5 witnesses, making it a total of 88 witnesses who had given evidences before the tribunal. 5 witnesses who testified on Monday were Balogun Mujida Ewaoluwa, Balogun Rahman, Gafa Babatunde, Oshinowo Onyilola Abiodun, and Agiri Oluwafumilayo. They were cross-examined by Dr. Remi Olatubora Esehen representing INEC, Professor Taiwo Shipiton Esehen, who appeared for Abiodun, and Afolabi Fashan, who represented the whole Progressive Congress. In their testimonies, they all alleged disruption of the election in the respective polling units by the APC talks. Ewaoluwa from Odo Shakila in Remo North local government area told the tribunal that accreditation, voting and sorting of ballot papers had been concluded before the hoodlums disrupted the exercise. Meanwhile, Uche has assured the tribunal that the petitioners would close their case this week, barely 3 weeks that the hearing began. The senior advocate told the tribunal that Justice Amidu Kunaza-led panel had received the highest number of witnesses so far if compared to the records of presidential tribunal and other governorship election courts across the country. The tribunal had adjourned till Tuesday for the continuation of hearing. And still on Monday, Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC Professor Mahmood Yakubu, had said that the Commission did not receive any direct funding or cash support from international development partners. Yakubu said the clarifications became necessary to correct the impression that the Commission received funding support from development partners for the 2023 general election. He spoke on Monday at a meeting with civil society organizations in Abuja as part of Commission's post-election review. INEC chairman said it was the Commission's policy not to receive direct funding or cash transfers from sources other than the federal government. According to him, the support received from international partners came in the form of technical advice, civic and voter education, organization of meetings and capacity building workshops, as well as the publication of documents. Meanwhile, the INEC chairman said the Commission received 538 requests, 504 domestic and 34 foreign, for accreditation as observers in the build-up to the 2023 elections. And on Tuesday, the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, had pleaded not guilty to the 2-count charges leveled against him by the State Security Service at the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos. Emefiele, clad in cream jalabia, entered the dock with a big red KJV Bible in his hands. He was charged to court for having one single-barrel shotgun and 123 rounds of live ammunition without license. Following the not guilty plea, his lawyer, Joseph Dawudu Esehen, informed the court that Emefiele had been in incarceration for the past 4 weeks, urging the court to grant him bail. In a counter-reaction, the Deputy Director of Prosecutions at the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation, the case was then adjourned till 14th of November 2023. Speaking with newsmen after the court has granted the suspended CBN governor bail, civil society group raised the alarm that the DSS is planning to rearrest Emefiele immediately he moved out of the court. The lead counsel to Godwin Emefiele, Joseph Dawudu Esehen, described the development as undeserving. It said the court is ruled and what it says should be abided by all concerned groups. However, officials of the DSS disagreed with the choice for the custody of the embattled CBN governor and deployed large numbers of its officers in and around the court premises. Meanwhile, also on Tuesday, officials of Department of State Services (DSS) rough-handled the commander of Special Squadron Team of the Correctional Service during the face-off that followed the ruling of the court that Emefiele should be in the custody of the Correctional Service pending the perfection of the papers for his bail. Officials of the DSS disagreed with the choice for the custody of the embattled civilian governor and deployed a large number of its officers in and around the court premises. The drama stalled the court proceedings, while the Correctional Service also called for reinforcements, which brought in the Squadron Special Force into the scene. Speaking with newsmen at the Federal High Court in Ikoyi, Lagos, Godwin Emefiele's immediate brother, George Emefiele, condemned the altercations that happened between the two federal agencies. And still on Tuesday, the Senate had called on the federal government to halt the proposed increase in the electricity tariff by the 11 distribution companies, DISCOs, in the country. The Upper Legislative Chamber also stressed the need to allow ordinary Nigerians to breathe, insisting that anything that will bring untold hardship on citizens must be rejected. Correspondent Kunle reports that these were some of the resolutions reached on Tuesday after a debate on a motion sponsored by Senator representing Oyo Central, Yunus Akitunde. In his presentation, Akitunde maintained that the DISCOs have no justification to the hike, especially as the price of natural gas has not been reviewed. Senator Akitunde also noted that the proposed increase will significantly impact the affordability of electricity and further impoverish the lives of average Nigerians. After the widely debated motion, the Senate further called on the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission to explore alternative measures to address the financial challenges faced by the DISCOs instead of allowing them to increase their tariff. And now on Wednesday, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu says Nigerian stands firm. The elected government in Niger and equally conveys the absolute resolve of leaders in West Africa not waver or flinch on their stand to defend the preserved constitutional order. He was reacting to the reported attempted coup d'etat in the Republic of Niger, which indicates some unpleasant development around the country's highest political leadership. The president, who is also the chairman of the ECOWAS, in a statement he personally signed on Wednesday, warned that the leadership of the ECOWAS region and all lovers of democracy around the world will not tolerate any situation that incapacitates the democratically elected government in that country, nor accept any action that impedes the smooth functioning of legitimate authority in Niger or any parts of West Africa. He said his leadership is closely monitoring the situation and development in Niger and will do everything within their powers to ensure democracy is firmly planted, nurtured, well-rooted, and thrives in the sub-region. The president, however, assured close consultations with other leaders in the region with a view to protecting the health and democracy in line with the universally acceptable principle of constitutionalism. And still on Wednesday, the Senate had condemned the Monday sit-at-home in the southeast geopolitical zone and asked the federal government to collaborate with the Finnish government and extradite a pro-Biafran agitator, Simon Ekpa, for prosecution. The legal sit-at-home order is set to be enforced by a faction of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra IPOB in 5 southeast states: Anambra, Enugu, Imo, Abia, and Ebonyi. The unconstitutional order was declared in 2021 to press home demands for the release of IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu, who is being detained by the Department of State Services (DSS) and prosecuted for terrorism-related charges. Correspondent Kilujo reports that during plenary, the Red Chamber, presided over by President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, resolved to invite the Minister of Foreign Affairs, when appointed, and relevant stakeholders to carry out a thorough investigation as well as bring other sponsors of the act to book. On Thursday, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had sent 28 nominees to the Senate for screening and consideration as ministers in his cabinet. The letter was delivered to the Senate President Godswill Akpabio by his Chief of Staff Femi Gbajabiamila on Thursday's plenary. Correspondent Kunle reports that the Senate President Akpabio, who read letters, said the communication was dated July 27th. Prominent among the nominees are former governors Nyesom Wike, Nasir El-Rufai, David Umahi, and Badara Bubakar, while the likes of acting APC chairman Habaki Ari, Senator John Eno, Honorable Nkiru Onyejiocha, and Dele Alake also made the list. Others include Abubakar Momo, Ambassador Yusuf Tuku, Ahmed Dangiwa, Anatu Musawa, Uche Naji, Beta Hedu, Doris Uzoka, Wale Edo, amongst others. Akpabio said the list, according to the letter, is not exhaustive as more nominees will be sent to the Senate for confirmation in due course. And still on Thursday, organized labor has declared that no going back on the planned protest slated for August 2nd. NLC President Joe Ajaero and his TUC counterpart Festus Osifo said the current situation in the country is pathetic and labor unions cannot look away and allow people to keep on suffering. Galaxy's news correspondent Levy Josephs reports that the Secretary General Association of Niger Aviation Professionals ANAP Comrade Saidu Razak called on federal government of Nigeria to quickly look into the demands of labor union to avert the impending industrial action which is said will be total if allowed to take place. Comrade Saidu Razak said labor leaders will not compromise unless issues about socio-economic situation of the people are addressed quickly. The SADC issue at hand is not only about workers, but about entire citizens of Nigeria whose income can no longer afford them necessary things of life. And now, on Friday, the Senate had said it will on Monday begin the screening of the 28 ministerial nominees proposed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Spokesperson of the Senate, Senator Adeyemi Adaramodu, the APC Ekiti State, disclosed this while addressing newsmen after the list of the nominees was read in the upper chamber. Adaramodu said that although the Senate was not supposed to sit on Mondays, but because of the importance attached to this national assignment, they would suspend all their rules for them to commence the exercise on Monday. He assured that the screening would be thorough because the lawmakers were very much aware of the high expectations of those who would assist President Bola Tinubu in fulfilling its mandate and the Constitution. He said that there would be no allocation of time for any nominee, and if a single nominee takes up to 3 hours or a whole day, so be it. On allegation on some nominees, like former governors with EFCC cases, Adaramodu said all the nominees had gone through security screening checks from the executives. Meanwhile, with the screening commencing on Monday, the annual recess of the National Assembly, which would have begun on Thursday, had been put on hold till after the exercise. Still on Friday, Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, had said that the ministerial nominee list is a good mix of people with political acumen, a technocrat, noting that they are people who have keyed into the vision of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to move Nigeria forward. Gbajabiamila made the disclosure during an interview with journalists in his office shortly after submitting the ministerial list at the Senate. He said that the President took his time to scrutinize the list himself to ensure he appointed people who would work and contribute to national development. The Chief of Staff, however, urged the Senate to hasten the confirmation process so that the Cabinet members will make their contributions to the development of the country. Recall that after a long wait by Nigerians, the Chief of Staff to President Tinubu earlier had presented President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's ministerial list before the Senate, while Gbajabiamila, the immediate past Speaker of the House of Representatives, presented the list to the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, during the Senate plenary. And still on Friday, a former Secretary General of Commonwealth and held a statement, Chief Emeka Anyaoku, had appealed to African leaders to foster peace building and national development through stable democratic government. Anyaoku made this appeal in his opening remarks at the 2023 Association of Foreign Relations Professionals of Nigeria, AFRPN, annual conference in Abuja. Speaking on the theme examining the nexus between foreign policy goals and democratic governance, he said one of the three main challenges facing Africa after the struggle for freedom is insecurity and instability in governance. On the recent military coup in Niger Republic that toppled the democratic government, the third Commonwealth Secretary General said whatever affects Niger Republic affects Nigeria, taxing the Nigerian government to do everything possible to ensure that democracy is restored. He also appealed to African leaders to ensure that politics and governance in their countries are inclusive and should promote peace and stability. The Federal Road Safety Corps (FRSC) in Niger on Friday said that the road traffic crashes (RTCs) claimed no fewer than 473 lives in the state between January 2022 and June 2023. The state sector commander, Mr. Kumar Sokwam, disclosed this in an interview in Mina. Sokwam said that in view of the high number of deaths recorded through RTCs in the state, the command was working tirelessly to reduce crashes in the state to the barest minimum. He explained that within the period under review, the command recorded 766 RTCs with about 5,272 persons involved, with 2,607 sustaining various degrees of injuries. The sector commander also said that 204 of the RTCs were fatal, 483 serious, while the 79 were minor. He explained that the RTCs were caused by human, vehicular, and environmental factors. He, however, said that the Corps concentrated on the drivers during sensitizations because little mistakes by them could lead to accidents as they drive and control the vehicles. Tuxwam said that the Corps had embarked on daily sensitization known as early morning cry to monitor parks in the state. According to the FRSC boss, under the Global Framework and Plan of Action, there are 5 pillars the Corps considers during operations. It said that these 5 pillars are the vehicle, road mobility, driver, road user, and post-crash. Sokwam appealed to the state government to collaborate with the Corps in establishing more help areas to enable them reach accident scene on time. And that's all on Track in the Week.